Download this code from codegive.com, link in the description below. Certainly. Secure Shell, SSH, is a protocol used to securely connect to remote servers. One of the key features of SSH is its ability to use public key cryptography for authentication. This tutorial will guide you through creating and using SSH public and private keys. Step 1. Install SSH client. Make sure you have an SSH client installed. Most Unix-like systems, Linux, macOS, come with an SSH client pre-installed. For Windows, you can use the built-in openssh client or install tools like putty. Step 2. Generate SSH key pair. You can generate an SSH key pair, public and private keys, using the ssh-keygen command. Here's how to do it. 1. Open your terminal. 2. Run the following command. Bash ssh-keygen TRSAB 4096. See your email at example.com. TRSA specifies the type of key to create, RSA in this case. B4096 specifies the number of bits in the key. More bits mean more security. See your email at example.com. This is a comment that helps identify the key later, usually your email. 3. You will see an output like below, asking where to save the key. Enter file in which to save the key, /home/your_user/.ssh/id_rsa. Press enter to accept the default location, or provide a custom path. For next, you will be prompted to enter a passphrase. You can choose to enter a passphrase for added security or leave it empty. Enter passphrase, empty for no passphrase. Enter same passphrase again. Once completed, you should see a message like, your identification has been saved in /home/your_user/.ssh/id_rsa. Your public key has been saved in /home/your_user/.ssh/id_rsa.pub. Step 3. Copy the public key to the remote server. To use your SSH key for authentication, you will need to copy the public key to the remote server. You can use the ssh copy id command to do this. 1. Run the following command, replacing username and remote_host with your actual username and the address of the remote server. Bash ssh copy id username at remote_host. 2. You may be prompted to enter your password for the remote server. After entering it, the public key will be copied to the server's /.ssh/authorized_keys file. Step 4. Connecting to the remote server using SSH key. Now that your public key is on the server, you can connect using SSH without a password, if you didn't set a passphrase, or you will need to enter your passphrase if you set one. Run the following command to connect. Bash ssh username at remote_host. Step 5. Additional configuration, optional. You can configure your SSH client for convenience by editing the /.ssh/config file. Here's an example configuration. Plain text. Host measure host name remote_host. User username. Identity file /.ssh/id_rsa. Now you can connect to the server using the short command. Bash ssh measure. Step 6. Security recommendations. 1. Use a strong passphrase. If you choose to use a passphrase, make sure it is strong. 2. Limit key access. Set the permissions of your .ssh directory and files to prevent unauthorized access. Bash mod 700/.ssh. mod 600/.ssh/id_rsa. mod 644/.ssh/id_rsa.pub. 3. Regularly rotate your keys. Consider periodically generating new key pairs and updating your servers. Conclusion. You now have a basic understanding of how to create and use SSH public and private keys for secure authentication. Using SSH keys significantly enhances security compared to using passwords alone. Creating and using public keys with SSH, secure shell, is a crucial skill for securely accessing remote servers and systems. This tutorial will walk you through the process step by step, including generating SSH keys, adding them to an SSH agent, and using them to connect to a remote server. Step 1. Generate SSH key pair. The first step is to generate a new SSH key pair, a private key and a public key, on your local machine. Here's how to do this. 1. Open your terminal, on Mac OS or Linux, or command prompt /PowerShell, on Windows. 2. Run the following command. Bash ssh-keygen TRSAB 4096 see your email at example.com. TRSA specifies the type of key to create, RSA. B4096 specifies the number of bits in the key, 4096 bits is recommended. See your email at example.com, adds a comment, usually your email, to help identify the key. 3. You will be prompted to specify a file to save the key. You can press enter to accept the default location, /.ssh/id_rsa on Linux/Mac OS or C/users/your username /.ssh/id_rsa on Windows. 4. You can also set a passphrase, which adds an extra layer of security. Step 2. Add your SSH key to the SSH agent. Once you have generated your SSH key pair, you need to add your private key to the SSH agent, which manages your SSH keys and passphrase. 1. Start the SSH agent by running bash eval $SSH agent s. This command will start the SSH agent in the background. 2. Add your SSH private key to the agent. Bash ssh add /.ssh/id_rsa. Step 3. Copy the public key to the remote server. To use your SSH key for authentication, you need to copy the public key to the remote server's authorized keys list. 1. Use the following command to copy your public key to the remote server. Bash ssh copy id user at remote_host. Replace user with your username on the remote server and remote_host with the server's IP address or host name. 2. You will be prompted to enter your password for the remote server. Once entered, the public key will be added to the /.ssh/authorized_keys file on the remote server. Step 4. Connect to the remote server using SSH. Now that your public key is added to the remote server, you can connect without entering a password, if you did not set a passphrase. Bash ssh user at remote_host. Step 5. Troubleshooting. If you encounter issues connecting, consider the following. Permissions. Ensure that your .ssh directory and files have the correct permissions. You can set them with bash mod 700/.ssh, mod 600/.ssh/id_rsa, mod 644/.ssh/id_rsa.pub. SSH service. Make sure that the SSH service is running on the remote server. Example workflow. Here's a summary of the commands you would run in a typical session. Bash. Generate SSH key pair. ssh-keygen TRSAB 4096. See your underscore email at example.com. Start SSH agent. Eval $SSH agent S. Add your SSH private key to the agent. SSH add /.ssh/id_RSA. Copy the public key to the remote server. SSH copy ID user at remote_host. Connect to the remote server. SSH user at remote_host. Conclusion. Congratulations! You have successfully created an SSH key pair, added your public key to a remote server, and established a secure connection using SSH. This method is more secure than using passwords, especially for remote access. Always keep your private key secure and never share it with anyone.